There was nearly no McKay in Stargate Atlantis.
David's character wasn't in the show when we were casting it. No, I am. Do you not even know this story?
I know some of the story.
And I'd always assumed, really, that it was always the plan for him to go into SGA. That they were just sort of grooming him, or at very least, that he was so brilliant in SG1, which, let's be honest, he was, that I've always thought he was the first name on the sheet. Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel.
But, you know, when we went through the casting process, we realized nobody was as good as David. So.
There wasn't a McKay. Brad Wright was talking about how, we just want that sort of character, but the executives over at Sci-Fi wouldn't let them do it. They wouldn't let them cast the person they wanted. In the end, they got David Hewlett to actually go to a casting director and do a read for the Ingram character. But he kept doing it as McKay.
I went in, so I went in to read for it, but it was still Ingram at that point, right? It was still the Ingram character. I think it was just the sides were just whatever you were using to cast before. And the casting agent kept saying like, it's too McKay. And I'd go like, oh, really? Well, let's do it again. And I just do it again like McKay. And he got frustrated and eventually sort of gave up on it. And that was what went out. But I was like, I just couldn't believe that if I was going to get cast, that it wasn't going to be McKay. Like it just didn't make any sense to me. So
I just love the idea of this poor casting director going, Les, don't be McKay. Repeat. What did I just say? And in the end, just getting so bored, I'm just going to send it.
I had my manager was saying, no, you cannot take this. Do not take this. This is no, you'll be out of commission for 5 years or whatever. I'm like, working for 5 years in the genre that I love. So they're always trying to maneuver and stuff. It's very weird.
Whoever his manager is, I actually want to punch them in the testicles with an ice pick. Don't punch with an ice pick, but you know what I mean. At that time, Stargate SG1 was at the height of its power. What sort of a manager would go, don't go on that highly successful franchise TV show, you idiot. Who would do that? To play a character that's already popular. I don't understand that mentality at all.
Yeah, we had issues every time we tried to cast either of the Stargate series because they just it's one of the first places they can really show power, and one of the first, and they can make a statement. And
they can lift a leg.
They do.
Well, we literally had when we were done the first round of casting at the network, we huddled up and ranked our choices, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they huddled up and ranked their choices, and our 1, 2, 3, 4 was their 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is a really interesting point, I think, that Brad Wright's talking here about how casting is something that is vitally important for a TV series, and how many TV series either live or die on the casting. I think about something like Firefly. That's a TV show with Nathan Fillion, Alan Tudyk, Jewel Staite, etc., that was actually greater than the sum of its parts. It was a space western. It shouldn't have worked, but it was just so beautifully written and so beautifully cast that it was properly lightning in a bottle. SG1 for me, beautifully cast. Stargate Atlantis, beautifully cast. SGU, mostly. But Brad talking here about how it's really is that first thing and the thing that the executives over the studio can force upon the creators, that they can sort of get involved in. They maybe can't get involved with the minutiae of some of the storylines, but they can go, we don't want him, we don't want that, we want that person instead. Now, I'm sure they're thinking they're being very clever. Sort of character in another series is popular, and do we want that sort of character in the show as well? This is how executives think. Creators think about who is the best actor for a role. And really, I wish the studios would stay the hell out of it, because I just wonder how many shows have executives ruined because of bad casting. I can think of several, but get into the comments and tell me any you can think of. The new MacGyver series.
Nearly no McKay was one thing,
But Stargate Atlantis itself nearly didn't happen.
We were, at the beginning of Atlantis, we were saying to the network, okay, you've kind of passed the point where you can pull the trigger. You're almost too late now.
They really did get down to the very last second, and they were writing the script for the pilot at the same time they were still building the set.
And they were like, what are you talking about? You don't air until July. And we said, yes, visual effects take 3 months. We have blah, 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 blah. Rob did a timeline and showed it to me to prove it that we were right there, right at the razor edge of, is this doable? And so then they said yes. And we literally wrote the pilot script and built the set at the same time.
Wow.
When they started filming, they hadn't actually finished building the set. Now, this actually reminds me of a story that I was working over at a mental health institute years ago. They actually closed down the old Victorian hospital and opened the new hospital just down the road. But they hadn't actually finished building it. We were literally wheeling in patients on one side of the building while painters were at the other end going like crazy trying to get it all finished. I can only imagine them sort of filming a set in a corner and just like going, shh, stop the hammering for 2 seconds.
Would you please hold the goddamn hammering now? You got it.
David Hewlett says when he was first shown around the set, it was still under construction. And we know he wasn't cast until after filming had started. So
I remember you walking me through the set. That was one of the first things we did. You're like, welcome, check this out. And and they're like building it as we did it. And I was like, I always say that's like that was my first inkling. Like that's where you go like, oh shit, like this is real. You know, that. And then also there's there was Amanda saying, you ready for this? I'm like, yeah, what do you mean ready for this? Of course I'm ready for this. You know, I was born ready. And then to the first convention, I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for this.
I love this final clip here because I really do think we get to see an insight into the person on the shoulder. Saying, "Are you ready for this?"
He's
and
quite
going, well,
a
course,
modest
why
guy.
wouldn't I be? Yes, he's a
And then
nerd.
later
Yes,
realising
he's got a bit of an
actually
ego.
That,
But
at
at the end of
this
the day,
role
he
was
didn't
probably
realise
going
what
to
he was
change
his
his
life
life
with Stargate. And I would say when he went to his first convention, he was like, David Hewlett is not just David Hewlett anymore. He's Rodney too. And as far as us Gators are concerned, he always will be. And when I ask you guys, what is the one actor you would love to see return? But McKay is always up the top. He's one of the most popular characters in any of the seasons, and for me, I would David
love
Hewlett,
it
Rodney
if he came back
McKay
to Stargate.
is always in that. But guys, get into the
conversation.
comments and tell me what you
Obviously,
think.
people say Richard Dean Anderson and
This is a bit of an insight in how television actually works. But does it surprise you that SGA, for one, nearly didn't happen because of timing, because the studios just weren't on it quick enough, but also that they actually fought against Brad Wright and Robert Cooper to get McKay in the series? They didn't want him. How does that make any sense? Get into the comments if you can explain it to me. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can go to patreon.com/SciTrek, where most of our new videos premiere first, and you get to see them without the adverts, you lucky bunnies. Also, finally, you can go to scitrek.co.uk, which is our dedicated website, and we write articles based on a lot of our videos, and we try to add a little bit more information for you to digest. Go and check it out. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.